Welcome to the Liars Club. This is where we take our guests, we tell them to give us the truth, give us a lie, we figure out which is which. I'm Jessica Wellington.
I'm Felicia Michaels.
And you're about to get lied to.
I was thinking as I was driving over here, and we had spoken about this earlier, is what I really love about comedy is that the different circles that people travel in. Oh, yeah. And what I really love about this podcast is we're really mixing it up. You know what I mean?
We really are. I mean, have you guys ever met?
No.
Yeah,
No.
there you go.
Yeah. Ding, 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 ding.
There you go. So I would like you to introduce both of them because you'll probably say Mary's name correctly, even though she already told me.
It's taken me a really long time, but I think I'm there now.
Okay.
Mary, she is a great stand-up. She runs a show called the Armenian Allstars, and this is Mary Basmadjian.
Yes.
Whoa.
Thank you. Look at that. Wow.
I'm going to take you to ethnic restaurants to order for me and stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
How long? We've known each other for a while.
It's taken a while. It's taken a while.
Our other guest over here, he runs a show called Comedy Rocks, which is going to be going. Can I say it?
That. By the way, that was really good pronunciation. Say it again.
Comedy Rocks.
Wow. That was really good.
That's why I let her do all the heavy lifting.
Right.
Go ahead. Yeah, you can announce it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be going to San Bernardino and with the Foo Fighters.
That's right.
Which is amazing.
Cal Jam.
Right, because you mix music and comedy.
My show is music and comedy, and my dream has been to get the show Comedy Rocks at a festival so I could perform stand-up and watch my favorite bands and, have a backstage pass, meet Iggy Pop, shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and this is Skyler Stone.
That's right.
Well, welcome, Skyler.
Very
Stone.
good pronunciation. It's Stone A, actually. But, but whatever,
Very fun.
Stoney.
And as always, we have our producer, Andrew, here, and I would like to say, hey, Andrew, thank you for all your work, by the way, and I really appreciate your efforts. Is there something you would like to say?
Please, if you've enjoyed all the episodes, any of the episodes, if we made you laugh a couple times, please go to iTunes or Stitcher, wherever you listen to it, and give us a rate, review, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Tell your friends. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please email us at theliarsclub1@gmail.com. And thank you guys for listening.
By the way, if I could just say real quick, I wish the listener could have seen the visual of Andrew leaning over onto Jessica, and Jessica's like, you're like pulling away like someone who's not interested in the guy hitting on you.
I was
Best
thinking
acting
the same way. I was like, Jesus, it's not like he's trying to lick your neck, Jessica.
Sorry, Andrew.
That was hilarious. Mary, the first time I've ever seen you was just like a week or 2 weeks ago up in the belly room. And I see your name all around, but I had no idea. You're very, very funny.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. How long have you been doing comedy?
About 8 years now.
Oh, yeah?
Not as like every single day like a lot of these hustling comedians do, but
They're lying. They're lying. It's all bullshit. No one works every day.
But yeah, I've been doing it about 8 years now.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Well, cool. How long have you been doing it, Skyler?
Stand-up? Oh, man. Well, the first time I did it was 1998, but then I just didn't do it for a while after that. Like, that's like the first time I got up and told a really bad joke. You want to hear the first joke I ever told? It's not good.
Do it.
I just want to warn you. It's not good. Oh, yeah. I was stoked about it. I got on stage. And I went to WMU, which is Western Michigan University. And so it was on campus. So I said, hey, everybody, what's up? I go to WMU. I know you think it stands for Western Michigan University. But when you party like I do, it stands for Weed Miller Lite Uterus.
Uterus!
I swear on my life.
Uterus.
As if like I am even doing something with the uterus. Like it's like that's my feeble brain came up with that. So
Weed Miller Lite and your pussy.
yeah. All right, I might bring it back. All
I
right.
don't mean to supervise you, but that's how to fix that joke.
Uterus. Well, you do have twins now, so you did bang out that uterus.
Yeah,
I did. Yes, I did. Yeah, I expanded it, remodeled it, added a foyer, a patio.
Wow.
Yeah.
How old are your boys now?
They'll be 3 in about a week and a half.
Wow, so your furniture just must look like shit now.
Yeah. Do you have twins?
I have 2 boys, but they were 17 months apart. But
Okay.
I'm still screaming at them.
You know what's up.
I know what's up. And then I have a 19-year-old. I just bought this little look, I don't mean to be this person, but I bought my first ever custom couch, right? It was fucking on sale from West Elm.
This is not the first time I've heard about this damn custom couch.
I know. And so my son totally spills a whole fucking cup of coffee. It's like called Deco Weave, so it's like this light gray. It's really beautiful.
Ooh, Deco Weave.
With everything, right? He spills a whole cup of coffee. I'm out of town. He calls me 19 years old crying, Mom, what do I do? Because he knows I would like lose my shit.
Yeah.
Oh, he couldn't just flip the cushion?
No, because it's one of those, the way. Fucking Jessica. No, because it's one of those cushions that is kind of, it's not just like squares. It's kind of, because it's little shades. No, you can take it out, but you can't flip it because it has the way it's cut. So anyway.
We just bought, also, okay, we didn't do custom. We're not fancy like you, Felicia.
Right. Well, can I tell you?
You know, we just went to Ashley Furniture, like, you know, like a good Reseda boy goes to. And we just literally did this 48 hours ago. We bought one, and then at the end they're like, "Do you want the 5-year protection plan?" Like I've heard of being asked that at like Best Buy over a camera, but now there's like couch protection plans.
Everything.
And we bought it. Nicole was like, "We're doing it." So we bought it. But they gave you a list. There was like a brochure of like all the things that it covers. And like I said too loudly in front of the employee while they're in the middle of like, you know, putting all the digits into the computer and figuring out our address and stuff. I go, "Oh, wow. So it's okay, cool." It had like coffee. It had like wine, stuff like that. I'm like, "Well, I don't drink, but I definitely have been known to pull out on a couch." And all of a sudden, the fucking attendant just turned around and stared at us. And I'm like, it is a stain. No matter how you look at it, it's a stain.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably number 20 on that rider was 3-year-old twins.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
you know what's funny is that Mary is Armenian, and I didn't know any Armenians until I moved to Los Angeles.
Right.
She was the first. Okay,
We don't make couches, if that's what you're getting at.
But
Yeah.
I remember telling her, I was like, I don't know a lot of stereotypes about you guys, but this is what's in my mind, right?
That's what friends are for.
They don't
That's
call
what
her
friends
cut to
are
the
for.
Chase Wellington for nothing.
I was just thinking about our conversation of what you told me on your mind yesterday. I can't even talk about it. I can't even.
man.
It was like, what the fuck?
Well, you got
You got it. Well, now you got it. Okay.
Yeah, continue.
But I asked her, I was like, do you have marble floors and a tiny dog? And she was like, no, fuck you. I don't have marble floors. And she went home and she was like, I might have marble.
I got marble walls in my bathroom, and I have a fucking poodle. Like, I can't help it. I know.
By the way, I'm proud that Jessica actually knew that about Armenians.
I know. That was
That's
so
knowledge,
specific.
yes.
Good job.
Yeah.
From TV, I think.
And
yeah.
another thing about her, if you're ever in Glendale and Waze breaks down because the server's down, if she's with you, you're good. She knows how to get everywhere.
Yeah.
I just went to my first Russian wedding, and I was at the wedding. This was like August 18th, and we were eating. And well, actually, we first of all, I don't know about you guys, but in the Midwest, like what I'm used to is you go to the wedding, and then there's like an hour and a half in between the wedding and the reception where the bride and the bridal party, everybody's getting pictures, right?
Yeah.
And so you go in there, and there's usually jack shit to eat, maybe some crab cakes, but nothing, right? No, not an Armenian fucking wedding. Dude, the fucking plates were already on our tables when we got there.
Holy
and we
shit.
thought they were snacks, so we just ate everything off the thing, and then they brought us a whole new slew of things. It was like 7 entrees.
Yeah.
It was 3 hours long, and I go, what is going on right now? I go, when are you going to stop feeding us? And they go, this is Armenian style.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is
We
Armenian
slaughtered
style?
the entire barn for a wedding. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
But,
Wow.
yeah.
I want to go.
And it's expensive, right? I'll invite you. You'll be my guest to the next wedding I go to.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do go all out, and that's why the weddings cost around 60 to 80,000 average.
Oh, Jesus.
Average.
Wow.
Yeah, flowers and everything.
That's one thing I never understood, is spending so much money to get married.
And then you get
Yeah.
divorced
Did
2 years
Did
later.
you spend a lot of money when you got
I
married?
didn't. I wisely thought we'll invite a lot of people, but we'll do it in Hawaii, and then not that many will come. But
Oh,
then
no.
Right.
people will feel obligated to buy gifts. And it kind of worked out. There were like 20 people at our wedding, and it was in Hawaii. And
Wow.
we got a
That worked.
shitload. It worked.
Wow.
It worked. Yeah, that's what I would
No,
do.
our weddings, it has to be like 300, 500 people. Because we invite a shit ton of people, like
Right.
bunch of relatives. If you don't invite it, if you don't invite them, it's insulting. And then you have the rest of your married life to fight with your husband's side of the family about that. So we
Yeah.
just invite everybody.
And I'm
Wow.
called Mary because the Armenian people next to me argue like every Sunday. And it's It's really loud, and maybe they're not. Maybe they're just
I
having a
think-
conversation.
Yeah. I gotta come over one of these days.
Yeah, you got to
and
put it on speaker and put it up, and she can
It's
tell
probably
you what
not.
they're
It's probably
saying.
not that big of an art. It's probably just like the actual
They're
default.
having a conversation.
My repairman for my car is his name's Armin. Big surprise. And he's over on Beverly and Western at the 76 gas station. I go there all the time, and he literally sits out back. All their guys, they're smoking. I used to think like, do they all hate each other? Like, no, that's just how we talk. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Well, very cool. Well, thank you guys for doing the show. We're going to get right to it. And what we ask our guests to do is to bring two stories. One is the truth and one is a lie. And we'll rotate it around. Who would like to start first? Skyler.
okay.
All right.
All right. So what do I start with? Okay, so I'm in recovery. I am.
That checks out.
Yeah, I'm 16 months. I'm 16 months sober as of yesterday.
Bravo.
Oh,
Thank you.
congrats.
And so my wife, she's Latina.
Very beautiful lady, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, you saw her on social media?
Yeah, I feel like you have to really be good with your story because I know so much about you. I'm like you with Bert Kreischer last
Oh,
week.
it got creepy, dude. Is this gonna be? Oh,
Oh no. Go ahead.
No,
She's
well,
very beautiful.
She's very beautiful, and thank you for saying that. And I point out that she's Latina because seems like a stereotype safety zone in here, right? So female, right? Female Latin women, or female Latin women. That's a little redundant. Female Latinas, they are very. They don't fuck around. I think that's probably the best way to put it. So this is my second time getting sober, and the first time I got sober, I had how long did I have? I don't remember how long I had, but I went out, and when I went out, I was reminded that when I got out of rehab the first time, she had walked up to me and said, "I'll take you back, but I'll only take you back if I can drug test you at any time, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year." She goes, "I can do it." She goes, "You can't be offended by it. Like, if I want to drug test you, I can do it." And she goes, "If you'll do that, you have your life back. You have your wife back. You have your kids back, and we're going to do this."
Wow.
And so I was like, okay, cool. And at that time, I had not planned on relapsing, right? I had planned on staying sober.
right.
So I made it a year and 7 months. So I guess that's 19 months. And so at the 19-month mark, I decide I'm going to go out. I went out on a couple of Pacificos. Couple of Pacificos led to some 8-balls. 8-balls led to, painkillers. And next thing you know, like, I'm going to the doctor, faking injuries so I can get, like, Vicodin subscriptions.
And how
prescriptions.
long of a period of time is that from just having a Pacifico to now you're lying to
It was
the
pretty
doctor?
quick. It was, like, pretty quick. Like, we're talking within 2 weeks, I'm, like, going crazy. So I can't have drugs and alcohol. It just does not work. And I mean, look at me. This is my default. Like, I'm already like, what's up? Like, now imagine cocaine introduced into that. So Nicole knows when I get. She knows my symptoms. She knows, like, if I'm on Vicodin. I get sweaty, I get loud, and I get manic. Now, it's a very fine line because that's how I am in general.
Yeah.
So, but like, it gets a certain way. And so that was going down. And so she walked up to me in our bedroom, and she walks up and she takes a drug test, and she walks up to me and she says, "Here, you need to do this." And I was like, "Oh," and I got scared, right? And I go, I don't have to pee right now. And she goes, "Well, that's not my problem." Pulls out a bottle of water out of her back pocket, hands me the bottle of water, says, "Stay in this bedroom until you have to pee. If you need more water, let me know." And then she leaves the room. We live with two-story homes, so we're on the second floor. She goes downstairs, handles the kids. I'm upstairs. I'm panicking at this point. I have no idea what to do because, she can ruin my life right here. I am on Vicodin, and if I pee in this cup and it shows, that I'm taking painkillers, I'm screwed. So I got a last-second idea. I drop to the floor. I start hitting the floor as hard as I can. I start pulling the hair on my head. I pull the sheets off the bed. I'm like hitting my chest. I'm just getting worked up and sweaty and just like really angry and screaming. And she runs upstairs. And the reason I did this is I've had kidney stones 3 times before. Oh, I hit the table. I've had kidney stones for real like 3 times before.
I've had those. They're terrible.
They're awful.
Yeah.
They're
yeah,
fucking terrible.
Yeah.
She comes in the room, and she looks at me, and she's seen me hold my side before and scream in pain, and I knew that she'd know what this is. And she's, are you having a kidney stone? I go, and I just started like violently shaking my head, yes. And so she runs over, and she's, what do you want to do? I'm calling 911. And I was like, oh shit, no, I don't want to call 911 because then I've been in an ambulance before. The LA Fire Department.
$2,000.
Yeah, it's actually like $1,800. It's like $1,800. And so I'm like, I don't want to pay $1,800.
Oh, an Uber.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I don't want to pay.
It'll get there faster.
Yeah, right? I was like, I don't want to pay $1,800. And so I was like, no, I'll drive myself. And then she looks at me like, and she's like, what do you mean? I'm just going to drive myself. And so I'm like hobbling downstairs. She's holding me. I get to my car, and I get in my car. And you ever seen Usual Suspects?
Uh-huh.
At the end when Kevin Spacey, when he goes from the club foot, like he's walking, it's that tight shot on his feet, and he's got that limp because he's in character as Verbal Kent, the guy he's been pretending that he is, but he isn't. And then all of a sudden his legs smooth out the walk, and all of a sudden he's walking normal, and it turns out he's Kaiser Soze, right? So that was kind of like what this was like. I'm in character, like Sean Penn, Mystic River drama, just like in my car screaming and like pulling out, going in reverse, and I start going down the street. And
That's a lot of effort.
And then the second I get around the corner, I literally just straighten out, and all of a sudden now I'm just driving. I'm like, okay.
But she's in the car?
No.
Oh.
I drove by myself. Yeah.
So she let you drive thinking you had a kidney stone?
Yeah. So now I'm in the car. I'm driving to the hospital. I get to the hospital. Now I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, now I've got to I really have to do this. I have to pretend, now I have to give a second performance. So I park my car.
Finally, a man said it on the microphone.
So I go inside. I'm screaming. I'm wailing. I'm going nuts. They're like, what's going on? I go, kidney stone. They're like, how do you know? I'm like, I've had him 3 times. And then they're like, okay. They're like, what's your pain level? 1 to 10. I go, 11. Spinal tap, right? And so now the reason I said that is Daddy knows that what they're going to put you on is Dilaudid. Liquid Dilaudid, which is pretty much heroin, okay? And so that's in the same class as Vicodin. And so I knew that once they put me on that I would be on this fucking drip, and as soon as I'm on the drip, it's going to be in my system. And when I come home the next day, if she asks me to drug test, I'll be like, well, yeah, sweetheart. And that's what happened. I came home the next day, and she goes, let me see the paperwork. And I showed her the paperwork, and they said that I have the beginning crystallizations of kidney stones, you know what I mean? But they couldn't, find one. And then they said, and she said, all right, well, she goes, by the way, you still didn't pee, so I'm assuming you have to pee now. You're probably on IVs and stuff and tons of water in you. I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I can pee now. I go, but just real quick, it's kind of a waste of time. I go, babe, they just pumped me full of painkillers. That's going to show up. And she goes, oh. She goes, oh, okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And so then I didn't have to pee in the cup. So
did you clean up after that without letting her know?
I'm sorry, this is just such a fucked up story. When you drove yourself to the hospital, did you already know that they're going to put the Dilaudid in it? Then I can say, oh, it's a did you have that planned out, or that was just a process of, you know what I mean? Oh fuck! Now I got to go in the hospital. Oh fuck! Now I got to. And but this is the positive.
Or did you sum that? Was it premeditated? You
yeah,
knew.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever you went into the first.
It's hard to say. It's like describing what it's like to be in a panic attack. It was all I felt like a cartoon character in a cloud of dust, with 3 people fighting it. I was just coming up with ideas and then maybe doing it and then going this way and maybe going that way and then, oh yeah, that would probably work. And then this would, I think my idea was just to get out of there first and then, and then that kind of came up and then, and then
all
that
the pieces fell together.
Yeah.
Now, did you clean up after that and get sober?
Yeah, that story happened. Man, I don't know. I don't know when that happened. October of 2016, I think. Yeah.
Did she find out that you did this?
Yeah, she knows.
I'm sure you wouldn't say it on the
what
podcast.
Did she say when she found out? Yeah, I was thinking that what did she
but
say?
they've been together a long time. She probably is not going to listen to this.
she does not listen to my podcast.
Being with a comedian after 6 weeks, you don't listen to anything.
Let me explain something to you. You could never walk up to Nicole and say, would you like to listen to Skyler talk about himself for an hour?
Touche.
While other people make money off of ads of it, you just go, what do I have to gain in any of this? Yeah, no.
Wow. And so I'm sorry to ask you, how long before after the story did you clean up after that?
Like the following January. So like,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow, and did she bust you with a pee test?
When?
When you finally sobered up again.
Oh, she's tested me as recently as 3 weeks ago.
No, I'm saying, so after you did the kidney thing, and you're like, I got
By
this
the way,
in my
the
system.
funny thing about this, I know the listener can't see all this, but we're in a room with like, what do you call these things?
Like sound.
The egg crate soundproof like squares.
Yeah.
And like Jessica is, she's getting in a tough ass mode, and she's leaning over the table and getting intense, right?
Yeah.
Jessica, who was just in a Clint Eastwood movie, by the way, so you got chops, right? It's like this egg crate. I feel like I'm in an interrogation room, and like I've just told my side, and you're like leaning in for now. Let's get to the bottom
I
of this.
do get that way. It's like I do.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Oh fuck. Oh shit. Here it comes, Skyler.
You want to do 15 in Chino?
Oh shit.
So you eventually that had to come out of your system, and she had to know that the stuff from the hospital's not in your system anymore. Did she drug test you after that should have been gone and bust you? Or did she take you for face value?
I dodged it a few times.
Okay.
And then like was able to like, be off it for a little time, let her test me, and then get back on it and stuff like that.
Yeah, how did you dodge it the second time after that?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Well, no, I just meaning like I just took a guess to like, she's probably gonna wait this amount of days, and then she's gonna do it on this day. So if I can just stay clean, like I'm a smart addict. I like I'm kind of like looking at it like in a functioning way of like I'm gonna I'm gonna test Skyler on this day, so I stayed clean afterwards until I got the test, and then like as soon as the test, it was like, oh, all right, now like, she's gonna test me for a while right now, so then party again, and then like kind of, I bet she'll do it again on this day. I was able to call it and see it coming and be flush clean. You know what I mean? I wasn't like a 24-hour addict that just had to have it or he was shaking. It was just more like can't wait to get my next fix, but I'm gonna be smart about this type thing, if that makes sense.
And does your wife come from anybody in her family have substance abuse issues?
Yeah. It's definitely on her side too. It's on both our sides. Yeah.
By the way, very bold, and I give your wife a lot of kudos that she is not fucking around.
Yeah, she
when
doesn't
it
fuck
comes
around.
to you. Yeah,
She doesn't fuck around.
And in a good way, because that's a position of
That's
love.
what's leading me
Yeah.
to believe that maybe this isn't true, because if she's had to deal with him and other addicts before, and she had just asked him to do a drug test, and she busts in there and he's having a kidney stone all of a sudden, I would be like, fuck you, go pee.
Pretty convenient, right?
Yeah. This is too convenient.
I'm sure she was like, I have a set of twins downstairs, and this motherfucker needs to sort his shit out, and this fucking kidney stone bullshit. I'm just saying it as a former wife. Maybe that's why I'm not a wife
Oh,
anymore.
you're not married now?
No, I'm not married.
Oh,
No,
okay, I
no,
thought okay.
Yeah.
Did you raise your kids on your own?
I am a single mom, but he does have them, every other Wednesday and sometimes on the weekends. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Sometimes, yeah. No, it's been a good situation. So interesting. Wow, that makes me want to meet your wife and shake her hand. I mean, that's pretty awesome. And what a wheezy little fucking fuck you are, man. 'Cause that's pretty devious plan. That's a pretty.
Did she get mad when you told her about it?
I mean, a little bit. Not
Yeah.
like, she kind of played it off like, I knew.
Okay.
She was, I couldn't prove it, but I knew.
Yeah.
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 I bet.
So.
Because if you're doing drugs and you're sweating, she probably could smell it on you.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, because I remember
Is that another Latin stereotype?
No.
I can smell the cocaine.
No.
It's like Tecate and cocaine.
Oh my god.
Because what I was going to say is, Brittany Murphy had a husband. His name was Simon, and he was a photographer. And Brittany Murphy, the actress, so he was shooting some pictures of her. He was also like a film producer. He was kind of a shifty fella. And I worked, when I wasn't doing comedy, at a digital capture firm. And so I was on set that day, and he was photographing her. And it was my job to take the camera from him and, do a couple other little things. And I remember he gave me the camera, and the camera was very sweaty. And when I picked the camera up, I could smell him. and it reminded me of how Sam Kinison smelled. And
Really?
I thought to myself, this motherfucker's doing a tremendous amount of drugs.
Wow.
Wow.
I didn't know
It
that.
because it's like smells like cocaine and cheeseburgers. That there's like a weird. I'm totally serious. So I bet she could literally smell it on you.
I mean, my wife she does have a sense about her. Like she can even, like right now I'm really trying to lose weight. So like I'm going to the trainer 3 times a week. I have a physical trainer for my leg, and I've got all this stuff I'm doing. I got a nutritionist. I'm going hard. I'm really trying. And so I'll try to like not eat something bad, and I'll come home and she can just she's like, "Where'd you go?" Like, what are you? And like most women
You have
are
to
like,
pee in this cup.
well, yeah. most women are like, "Who'd you fuck? Who'd you fuck?" And like my wife's like, "Chalupa or gordita? What'd you eat? Which one?" You know what I mean? Like she's trying to figure out what I had at Taco Bell. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
because she could just tell. Like she could
Yeah.
just. She's like, you bloat the second you eat like fast food, Skyler. I just know that you went somewhere. Like because when I go to fast food, like you should see my orders. They're not normal human being orders. Like if I go to McDonald's and I'm like on a tear, I do 2 Big Macs,
Jesus.
1 quarter pounder, a 20-piece nugget, a large fry, and a large Coke and an apple pie.
Jesus Christ.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
that's.
a fatty, and I can't order that and eat that much.
Oh, I can eat that, and I can eat that and still want more. I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
Yeah.
One
I can eat 2
large
fillets at Ruth's Chris.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. So, Mary, that was a good story right out of the
Yeah.
gate. Mary, what's your story?
I was in high school, and me and my friend needed to buy homecoming dresses. So we were gathered. It was a Sunday. We were gathered at this Armenian hall in Glendale, and we were gonna go to Glendale Galleria afterwards. It was her grandpa's like 40th day anniversary of him passing away. We usually just gather, and her uncle, who was supposed to take us to Glendale Galleria to get dresses, ends up getting pissed drunk and just belligerent, cussing everyone out.
At the Galleria?
At the hall where it was
Okay.
like a block away from
Okay.
the Galleria. He was supposed to take us afterwards for us to get our dresses or whatever. He ends up, and he was driving a green Astro van. He ends up getting pissed drunk, packing everyone in the car, hit her family and me. And he's just going on a rampage in the streets of Glendale. It is different than a regular day. And he almost hit a girl. We went into the parking lot, and finally my friend, she was really tall, so she was able to grab the handle and open it and just run from the 3rd row because it was an Astro van, and we were all the way in the back. And so she starts running, and I'm like, what?
While the van is moving?
Well, he couldn't move anymore because there was cars in front of him. It was in the parking lot of Glendale Galleria. So luckily, even though he was drunk and cussing everyone out, we were blocked in by the cars. So she found that opportunity to open the door and run out. I'm short and fat, and she's tall and skinny, so she just runs off with her long ass legs, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I jump out of the van as best as I could, and I start running after her. And we were crying and scared. We're running through Glendale Galleria. The security gets us, and they're like, what's going on? You know, we're trying to tell him that her uncle is after us because he got pissed off, grabbed a machete that he had in his car, and started running after us. In that process, while we're in the Glendale Galleria, he gets into a fight with this other Armenian man that was in his car. I guess he gave him like some kind of a look he didn't like. Grabs the guy out of the car and slams him on the car and starts punching the shit out of him. And like while there's a machete on him, they call the cops. He's pissed drunk in public, so they get him. While all this is going on, I call my dad and I tell him, like, me and my friend are in the security office at Glendale Galleria. Can you please come and get us? And he starts yelling at me, thinking we had stolen something and we got caught, because the night before he was watching a program about teenagers stealing. So like he thought we stole some shit. And he came down. When he came down to get us, he didn't know how to react because he's a man and he doesn't have emotions. And like he just got really angry and he was about to hit me in front of the security guards. Luckily he didn't. He just grabbed me and he took me. My friend had to wait for her grandma to come get her, and her uncle got arrested on being publicly drunk and almost killing somebody, and he had a fucking machete on him the whole time.
Wow.
And I was just, till this day, I will never sit in the car with that crazy ass man. And I still know him.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
you can't miss him. He's a big guy. Like he looks like a fucking bear.
Did
He's
you
like,
guys ever talk about the incident?
We did, and in fact, her family got pissed off at him. Got pissed off at her for jumping out of the car and running towards safety because her uncle got really pissed off and ended up getting arrested. If we didn't run out of the if she didn't run out of the car, we didn't get out of the car. He would have gotten on the freeway, and we would have all been dead by now.
Yeah, this reminds me of that woman that killed her kids in the van on the highway, and they're still
off
trying
the
to
cliff.
investigate it.
Yeah, it was adopted kids, by the way.
No, this is
Shut up, Mary. What difference does that make?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
But I'm not giving my answer right at this moment, but that your father started yelling at you when you just said, yeah, I'm here at the security office, because as soon as, if my sons did that, I'd be like, I'd be all over you. Yeah. Wow.
I mean, the security guard was like really surprised because my dad, because he's like, they just went through a traumatic experience. Why are you yelling at them and causing even more trauma? I mean, my dad was ready to beat the shit out of me right there.
Yeah, but he didn't come in and say like, well, what's going on? What the
No, he didn't say what's going on. He just came in and ready to charge at me to beat the shit out of me because he thought I stole something. And then when he figured out what the hell was going on and that we were frantically crying, he kind of calmed down. I mean, there was like 4 security guards there. He couldn't have touched me even if he wanted to, but he was riled up about it. Yeah.
Does your dad hug you?
No.
Jeez. Well, our dad didn't either.
I mean, look, nowadays, and when he does like show me any kind of love, he has to follow it up with my little piglet in Armenian, and I'm his piglet or his little elephant. You know, some fucked up fat shit like that. I don't know.
He
But
calls you an elephant?
yes, my baby elephant. Get the fuck out of here, bro. I know,
Bro. I'm not laughing at I'm only laughing at you end it with bro. Yeah.
My son calls me bro, and I'm like, dude, I'm your fucking mom.
I call my wife bro. She gets really mad.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
like
like, bro, what are you doing? She's like, did you just call me bro? She's like, I suck your dick. Don't call me bro.
Yo, bro, a little bit too much teeth.
Yeah, you could do a better job, bro.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
Whoa, we're on the subject.
Every time you called me bro, if I was married to you, I'd be like, it's time to pee in the cup. Do I?
Well, then I wouldn't say bro.
Does she carry it around in her purse? And if you get out of line, she just
I don't know where
pulls
she
it
keeps
out?
them. I've actually never seen them in the house.
Oh,
So
really?
I don't even know where they are.
Oh, wow.
She
Yeah.
must have a secret hiding place for
Yeah.
them. Wow.
So.
Oh. So what's your second story, Skyler?
Well, the second one, this one's pretty fucking crazy because the twins, as you mentioned earlier, you know, they're here and they're alive and they're healthy, but they almost weren't. You know, it was a crazy story. First of all, they suffered from TTTS, which is called twin-to-twin transfusion. It's when one twin is getting too much blood versus the other, and one is growing and one is not growing.
I do remember this part because this was on social media.
And so what happened was she was told massive bed rest. I mean, we're talking from like day one, like you're not getting up, you're not going anywhere. Well, I'm a comedian, and if I get an idea in my head, sometimes you kind of tell your wife, like, you know, hey, babe, like, come on, like, here's what we were allowed to do. We were allowed to take her to a restaurant as long as it was under 20 minutes. We were allowed to, like, take her to maybe CVS or whatever if she needed to, like, get something, you know what I mean? But she was not allowed to, like, you know, go out to a movie for 2 hours. She wasn't allowed to come to one of my comedy shows.
Oh,
She couldn't,
wow.
you know, she couldn't go on a walk. She couldn't go to the gym, stuff like that. So it was bed rest, but it was, like, you know, minimal, you know, whatever. So, you know, as a comic, when you want someone to do something, you're going to try all you can to talk them into doing something for comedy, for the sake of the laugh, right? And so I thought it'd be a funny Instagram picture, and this is one of my most popular pictures. I don't do that well on Instagram, but this picture did really well. So I thought it'd be funny if I got Nicole to go to Six Flags and act like she was getting on a ride. I mean, obviously not get on one, but just like whatever. So I called there ahead of time and I said, hey, listen, I don't want to buy a pass, but I worked this out. I said, listen, I don't want to buy a pass.
You like to work shit out, my friend.
I do. I go, I don't want to buy a pass, but I throw benefits and stuff like that all the time. You know, if there's anything that, like, if Six Flags has any sort of a thing, and the woman's like, we actually do. We have a Six Flags Foundation, and it's for inner city youth. And I'm like, oh, that's perfect. And so I ended up throwing a benefit at the Laugh Factory, like this is about 3 years ago, you know, in exchange for them letting me come into the park and like get to the line, skip the line, just get this photo. And the idea was it was just going to be a picture. I mean, twins protrude. I mean, they come out. So I'm like, babe, put on something really tight. You know what I mean? And so she was looking pregnant, and people were even. We were walking up and we were skipping the line. Nobody understood. Like people don't stand in line and go, oh, I bet you they're skipping the line because somebody is a comedian and called ahead of time and you know offered a benefit to get a photo for Instagram. They're thinking this bitch is about to fucking get on the fucking ride.
Right.
So we're like sitting here being escorted past everybody. You could just like, I didn't hear any exact words, but I definitely heard like, you know, like I just saw people go from conversation to, is this really happening right now type vibe? You know what I mean? Just general feeling. So I get to the front of the ride, and I'm literally just like taking pictures. And the only way I even talked Nicole into this was, I'm like, sweetheart, I go, think about it, okay? You're allowed to be in the car to go to a store, and you can be there for like 20 minutes or so. I go, we live in the valley, we live in Reseda. I've mapped it out. If we leave at this time of day, it's only like 16-minute drive or whatever. You know what I mean? I go, then we're gonna be there. Then I'm gonna lie you down. I go, I'm gonna bring pillows. I'm gonna bring water. We're gonna lie down, and we'll just chill out. We'll take like an hour break in the car, AC blast. And listen to some fucking 95.5, just chill, you know, and then we're gonna get you up, and this will be like your second get up of the day, and we're just gonna walk in. I chose the XXX ride, which is right to the right on the inside. I knew where it was because I take my kids there all the time, and so we're gonna go right to the right. And so we go into the right, and we wait for this guy Chris that helped us out, and he took us in, and like he was laughing the whole time. He's like, you're a fucking lunatic. He's like, how do you put up with this fucking guy, you know? And she was like, oh, I can't even believe I'm doing this right now. So we go.
Like, I can't run away from him right now.
I can't run away. Yeah. Plus, I gotta find out if he's on drugs. No. And so I get to the front of the line. I get my picture. I put it on Instagram, and I just said, I wrote just following doctor's orders. Taking care of these babies, getting ready for this wild ride or something like that. You know what I mean? Put it on there. Dude, it got so many likes. And to this day, I get harassed by people don't understand that she like didn't get on. We didn't like ever like out it, and you know how social media goes. It's been screenshot and shared to other sites. There's pregnancy like foundations and websites that have like used it and said like look at this crazy bitch, and just over it's like, and forever we've gotten so many like I've gotten DMs to this day like, and then people find the story that they almost didn't make it, you know what I mean? And so then they think like, oh, like they don't know the timeline, they don't understand like that was in effect. That was already in the process that they had TTTS. I didn't make that happen, but like as a general observer, someone like a third party just like from Iowa is looking at it going, oh my god. And then if you look at their timeline, the babies came 6 weeks early and they're in the NICU for 3 weeks, which is also true. You know what I mean? So like people have like attacked us over the years, thinking that her writing on they think that she wrote it first of all, and they think that we caused the babies to come early because they wrote the thing, and then that whatever.
Wow. If there's one thing we've learned, and doesn't matter which story's true, is that you jump through a lot of hoops to get something. And when you probably could have just paid the $90 or whatever it is to get in and get the photo and be done with it.
Well, I had a show.
You spent a lot more time and effort to get that.
I had a show on Comedy Central called Con. And it only lasted for a season, but on that season, like every episode was like a long con. And like the long con would be like me trying to get in the Playboy Mansion without being on the list, or me singing the national anthem at a Giants game in San Francisco without being a good singer, And then there'd be like these mini cons in between, like like how to get a free soda at McDonald's, or how to get out of paying your DMV fee, stuff like that. It was teaching you to live life like a prince when you're the pauper. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so on that show, one of my favorite things to do was a long walk for a short drink of water, like you're talking about. I love the idea of being the master of ceremonies, the fucking conductor of sin, and just pulling all these strings just to get a cheeseburger that would have been 89 cents to pay for. I love it. I get off on it. It's like my favorite thing. So
wow,
that's awesome.
Now I'm in deep thought over what story is real and what is the lie there. Do you have any questions you want to ask, or should we go right to Mary's story first?
Oh God, here comes the scary face.
I think we could go to Mary.
Okay.
I want to.
She's got to think about.
You want to marinate?
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Mary.
I
You're
want to marinate.
Second story, please.
Yes. A couple of weeks ago, my friend got me tickets to go see the Martins, Steve Martin and Martin Short, at Agua Caliente.
Really?
Wow.
Yes. And
Where's
it
Agua
was
Caliente?
It's right next to
Palm
Van
Desert.
Nuys. Yeah.
Right? I wish. Palm Desert. It's by Palm Springs. And they were doing this one bit where they were inviting a couple people to go up and be part of the show. And I was like, we were in the 4th row, and I was like, I got to get up there. So I got up there, and they asked me, like, so what do you do? I was like, I'm a stand-up comic. They're like, oh, really? And they gave me 10 minutes to do stand-up comedy at their show, their sold-out Agua Caliente show. Now, before you guys are like, oh, it's fake, bish, I got the ticket to prove it. We were in the 4th row. You could have a look at that if you want to.
She brought evidence. She brought evidence.
And
Evidence
then
of her being on
they
stage.
loved my set. I fucking killed it at a sold-out Martin show at Agua Caliente.
When you say Martin, you know that sounds
Martins.
like Martin Lawrence.
Yes.
Okay.
It was Martin. I think it's called the Martins. Well, I think their special is called the Martins on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. But it was Martin Short and Steve Martin. But they were really funny. Very, very funny. Yeah.
Interesting. So that's
Yeah.
your story.
It
so you did
is.
10 minutes. Where did they stand when you were doing the 10 minutes?
Well, they go off because they also had a piano up there as
Uh-huh.
well, and they kind of go off to the side. They're
And
like,
they
okay, we're gonna give you 10 minutes of stage time. You know, do your thing. And I was like, what? And I had to like.
What did you open with?
I open with what I usually open with. My name is Mary Basmadjian. That's Armenian for loud and obese. You know, my opener. You know.
Wow.
So the ticket stub has not been torn off.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's
Well,
that's pretty typical these days.
it is, especially if you're Armenian.
Calm down, CSI Las Vegas. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually because my friend was able to get those tickets. Yeah, it doesn't match.
Well,
No,
give me a minute. I'm gonna need to send this to the lab.
Yeah, for sure. Go for it. My friend's dad is a VIP over there. He plays a lot, and they treat him like royalty. So we were able to get tickets, and I've been to other concerts. I've been to the Duran Duran concert over there too. That was last year, and we always get amazing seats.
All right. So how did they bring you up on stage?
They do like this because they do this bit where they invite like 4 people or 3 people up on stage, and then they make you put on the hat and you do like a little song and dance thing with them, and it's part of the show. And they go ask like, okay, what do you do for a living? Do you like your job? Like that.
So when
while
you
the
said
piano is going.
So when you said comedian, they're like, oh yeah, I do 10 minutes. They were like, hey, Vaughn's checkout girl, get the fuck off the stage. Like, how did they say to the rest of the
Excuse me, Miss Social Worker, you're going to need to sit down, okay? It's really cute what you do, but go fuck yourself.
Well, this is after the little bit that we had to do, and they found they had already spoken to the 3 other people, and I was the last one. So when they found out I was a comic, they're like, "Wow, that's great. Why don't you give us 10 minutes? Let's give her 10 minutes, you guys." And the other people were asked to take their seats.
Can you imagine when they got off stage while you were on stage? They were probably like, that's how many fucking comedians there are in the world. You can't fucking dodge them.
I'm gonna tell you, I have a little bit of an issue with this.
Okay.
Because I believe that you went. I can see the evidence here.
We just got it back from the lab.
That face was so creepy, vice principal face.
I called Mary Rice because she did the numbers. But Mary actually has a little bit of anxiety.
Okay, well,
And-
that's not part of the story, Jessica.
I can't imagine you being the first to raise your hand to go up on stage with that. And like Mary doesn't drive on the highway.
That has nothing to do with this. Okay? It has
Dude, she wants to
nothing.
win. She came to win, dude.
It has nothing to do with this. Okay, how dare you throw that in my face, Jessica? How dare you? Do you see this?
Yeah, I'm in shock right now.
Okay.
You know what?
I'm
Calm down, Serena. Calm down.
That is too soon. Too soon, Felicia.
But But so how did you get on the stage? Though?
Well, we were in the 4th row, and I was really excited. The others were guys, and I think they were also looking for girls. So I was like, oh, right here. And I was really excited because I was also drunk and high, if you want me to put that out there. And I was just I was super excited. You know, Steve Martin and Martin Short. Like, how can I not get on stage?
So there was any photo evidence of this?
We were not allowed to take pictures. They make
I
us
swear
turn
to
off our
God,
phones.
Jessica, if you get on Instagram right now, I'm gonna punch you in the face.
You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do
That's not
that.
fair.
You're not
That's not
allowed
fair.
to do that.
Are we? I don't know the.
No, that's the rule. I
the
think
rules.
that's a
Am
good rule.
Am I allowed to ask questions, or is that
Yeah,
is that
no,
a no
you
no?
can ask
Are you
questions,
sure?
for sure.
Okay.
Please.
So. The only thing I'm having trouble with is the hey, you can do 10 minutes. I just don't think they'd say, like, they might be like, hey, let's hear
10
some
minutes
jokes.
is a
You
long
know,
time.
And if you're killing it, maybe they'll let you go 10 minutes. But I don't know
Yes,
that they'd
good
say,
point, good
all right,
point.
we got 10 minutes because we got Paulie coming on for some 12 and Felicia's doing 8. Like, it just seems too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
with a newbie, I feel
Yeah.
like they would not that you're new, but they don't know you.
Right.
They asked for how long, and I said 8 years.
Yeah, but still, there's some people that are really delusional out there. You know that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. My kid's preschool teacher tells me she's a comic. So, let me know if you ever need a tight 5.
I think they said that more as to kind of see me eat shit in a way. They're like, oh, you're a comic? Okay, let's see you do 10 minutes type thing.
Now I'm
You
suspicious.
know what I mean?
Now you've added that, and I'm suspicious
Yeah.
because I don't care who you are. You don't want to have to follow someone that's just fucking nosedive the show.
They're also known as good guys. Like, they're not shock people. Like Martin and
Yeah.
Martin, they're not like
No.
Howard Stern. Like, let's see how bad this goes. Like, they're generally
the
positive.
show had puppetry.
What? No, their show did not have puppetry.
Yes, it did.
No, not
Maybe,
the
maybe
one
the
that
one
I
on
went
Netflix
to.
did, but that doesn't mean
Bitch, she
it's
showed you the ticket.
I
She
mean,
showed you the
Jesus
ticket. What else do you need, Jessica?
Wait, let me see that ticket, actually.
Oh, my goodness. And we didn't pay for it because the dad gets hooked up.
It does say $0.
Yes.
This ticket smells like cocaine and cheeseburgers.
So maybe you
Yes to cheeseburgers. No on cocaine, which I have to ask, what does cocaine smell like? Does anybody
It
know?
smells
Oh, it
like,
smells beautiful.
I mean,
like
if you're
chemical.
smoking,
It just smells like chemical.
Chemical?
There's an old line,
Like
I
weird
don't like
chemical.
cocaine, I just like the way it smells.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
I was wondering, like, how do you even smell it without getting high? Like, see, I've never done coke. I can't lie about that.
I haven't either.
See?
Well,
Wait, am I
It's
lying?
so Armenian sometimes they do not do coke.
I'm just trying. I feel threatened, and my heritage is coming out when I'm threatened.
All right. Any questions, Jessica?
I'm going to tell you what. Skyler did not give me any eye contact on the first story. The second story, he gave me eye contact. Now, he is an actor. Maybe he knew what he's doing.
Well, where I get suspicious about the first story is when he says
He's an actor.
It's an automatic suspicious thing. But what I get stuck on is that you saying you tore the sheets off the bed because I've had kidney stones. There is no time to tear the sheets off the bed, my friend. That's where I'm like, I don't know.
Well, it's a very drama queen action.
Yeah, he
thing
was
to do.
acting.
Yeah, it's like
I'm
you
sorry,
see in the
go ahead.
movies.
I'm just trying to help you here, Skyler.
But don't roll your eyes at me when I say you didn't make eye contact. Not like you do these long out plans where you con people.
No, he was giving me a lot of eye contact, though.
I know, he
remember.
was.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
But don't.
So that's why I believe. It's true. So I don't know. I'm going to say the first story is not true.
Well, drug addicts will do a lot of shit to get out of stuff. I'm going to agree with you, Felicia, that the first story is not true because I feel like your wife would be like, this is too convenient. Fuck you. Go do the test. So I think that I don't know. They're so out there, both of them.
How about you, Andrew? Any?
I don't know. I want to. Yeah, my brother is a drug addict, so he did a whole bunch of crazy shit. So I want to say that like the thought process of doing all the steps to get there makes sense. So I don't know. I kind of want to do. I think the second one's true.
So you agree with us?
Yeah.
Oh, we've
First
never
time
had.
Yeah, we've never all
never
three
all
of
Wow.
us.
agreed.
The
Yeah.
trifecta of-
Never.
And what's the truth?
You guys are all wrong.
Wow.
Jessica, you were onto something.
I knew.
One of the reasons I stayed in my car for so long, I'm like, I am going to fucking play. I purposely gave a lot of like. I'm surprised I looked at you. I meant to not look at you, so you picked up on that.
Yeah.
And then I was also like just trying to like be nervous about it and stuff. And then I don't know if you know the second one. Like I was like, I'm gonna make that like my favorite story on earth to tell, and that's why it had hyperbole and it just kept fucking going. Whereas the first one was a little choppy.
I had a feeling because
Yeah.
especially with these stories both being how you'll jump through hoops to get shit.
Yeah.
I was like, he might be doing.
Yeah,
this
you had
to
a
us.
feeling, but you were still wrong.
I know, but I thought he might be doing this to us right now, and he did.
I have scared the shit out of people with how good I can lie. I mean, I have like
Really?
scared the shit out of people. I've created a show around. I mean, I literally sold a show that was all about me going into places, convincing people I'm something. There was a Taco Bell. If you go on the 101 north and you get off to go to Malibu, like I forget which exit it is, but there's a Taco Bell inside this complex. It's like in a gas station. And I showed up there, and I didn't even have cameras to do this. I just did this for fun. This is one of the stories I told to Comedy Central that made them go, we want to buy this show. I just showed up. I put on a button-up shirt. I tucked it in. I had a clipboard. I said I was with the health department, and I walk in and I talk to them, and I had enough this is, by the way, pre-Google. This is like 2002, so I couldn't like look up a bunch of shit and just figure shit out. I just had to like just think of shit and stuff. Went in there, talked a bunch of shit, told them what I thought was wrong, said I need to sample some of the food, made them like make food and stuff. So I left with like a bag of food to go. And that ended up on the show. We actually did one where we did a donut. You know those places in North Hollywood that's like donuts, Chinese, and Philly cheesesteaks like all in one. You know, we did it at one of those. And again, they made me food to go. I'm like at the end because in the episode I'm sitting there just going, and you can't do this. You got to do that. You got to do this. I'm like, all right, now listen. I'm gonna go ahead and need 2 bear claws. And so they made it for me, and then I left. So yeah.
Wow, well,
great.
you are a good little liar.
I scared my Uber driver that way because I was getting ready for my show here and had a clipboard out, and I was like, it just, every time he would make a weird turn or whatever, I just.
Oh my gosh. What the fuck? Poor guy.
Everybody should do that. That's amazing.
Right?
Oh.
That's not a bad
Ooh,
idea.
wow, buddy. That's an interesting decision you made there.
That's not creepy at all.
Real quick, was that 6 seconds you had your blink run? Okay. Okay. I prefer
All right.
9 myself, but
I got one question though. On the second story, was any of it real, or was that?
I purposely Felicia has been
was
very.
pregnant.
She's been very sweet and supportive online. I've seen her comment on stuff, especially family stuff. So like I knew the TTTS is true. But I would never make I was like, she would try and go to the bathroom, and I was trying to talk her and having a bedpan. Like I did not want her to move. I didn't want her to get up
Do
once.
you have kids other than the twins?
Yeah, 4 kids. Yeah, and then we have twins on the way, so 6.
She's pregnant again?
With twins.
No.
You should.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
Damn, he is good. Wow. Fuck.
Oh, I couldn't wait. Jessica has my favorite laugh on planet Earth. So I'm
Yeah,
like, I'm
she
gonna get her.
does.
I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna get her.
Her and Joey Diaz have the 2 best laughs in comedy. That's such an awesome story. And Mary, now do you have questions for Mary?
Like I said, Mary, I love that she brought evidence in.
Uh-huh.
I really do. Again, she could be trying to overplay it, like Skyler did. This is rough. What do you? Just the anxiety part about her that
But
I know.
I'm a comic.
You are a comic, but even before you get on stage here, you're nervous, and I'm like, you're good.
It's the
you're,
comedy store.
yeah, but this was
Okay.
this was Aqua Caliente.
All right, first story is real. Second story is a fucking lie. There you go.
Yep.
Since you said it like that.
Yep.
The comedy story. Yeah, fuck you. Second story is a lie.
I'm gonna agree with you.
Okay.
I can't believe this.
How about you, Andrew?
Thirded.
Yeah.
Oh.
What about you?
Fourth.
Fourth.
Oh, well, fuck you all.
So what's the answer, girl?
Yes, you guys are right. I did go to the show. First of You know what? That's just gonna make me want to do more shows, Jessica. Yeah, give me back my ticket. Thank you, Andrew.
Where'd you get your ticket?
No, I did go to the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
I did go to the show.
Lying, may I, as a lying expert?
Uh-huh.
Lying 101. Never, ever, ever say, and just in case you think I'm lying, and then have proof. Because that's what kids do. Kids go like, now, listen, I got in trouble at school. Now, before you think I threw the first punch,
Yeah.
right away, you threw the first punch. Not even a question, So.
Yeah.
This is true. Good. Thank you. I will
Yeah.
keep that in
So
mind.
you did go to the show.
I did go to the show, and I was in the fourth row. I was bomb. It was amazing. They're great.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Yes.
Wow, you guys have been fucking awesome guests.
This
Thank
is
you.
fun.
Thank
I'm not
you.
even kidding. Like when Jessica said, you got to do the podcast. I mean, I love doing podcasts at the Comedy Store. Then she told me the idea, and I was like, motherfucker, that is a good idea.
So, and it's not the most original idea, but it's simple. And
I
it's-
think it's,
yeah,
I've
I
never
like
seen
it.
anybody do it. I
Yeah.
think it's fantastic.
It's fun.
I
show.
love the
Thank you.
posters.
Thank you.
I love them.
Thank you. That's a One by One podcast, also known as Michael Klein. Does the images. He does a lot of people like Joey Diaz and a
Joe
lot of people.
Rogan.
A lot of people like that.
Nice.
Yeah, we're very lucky, very lucky. Well, you guys have been so awesome. Is there anywhere that people can follow you, or do you have anything coming up in about a month that you want to shout out?
When does this drop?
We backlog a little.
Yeah.
So when do you think this is going to be out?
A week or two.
Yeah.
Oh,
Two-
cool.
2 weeks.
I mean,
maybe.
I think this will be in time. Jessica brought it up. I'm doing Cal Jam, which is the Foo Fighters annual festival. This is the second time they've done the festival, but the first time they've done a comedy tent. So it's going to be Harlan Williams, Brenton Biddlecombe, Jamie Kennedy, myself, Carly and Donnie, and some surprises. And I'm going to interview a music icon that I can't announce yet, but someone very big that everybody would know his name. I'm going to interview him live on stage in kind of like a Howard Stern, Wayne's World type of way in front of a big crowd. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then I got a movie coming out on Netflix called Danger One this Friday, September 14th. Yeah.
Wonderful. Good
Yeah.
for you. Nice
Thank
to
you.
see you out working. 'Cause
Trying.
You got a lot of fucking kids now.
Don't forget the 2 theoretical ones on the way. So.
Dude, I couldn't even congratulate you on that. I was like, oh, no. I'm just getting mine out of the house. I'm like, oh, and I'm in that, like, Kirk Fox came up to me the other day. He's like, my baby's due any minute. I was like, oh, fucking kid. You know, because I'm at the teenager part. But wonderful, and your family's very beautiful. Your
Thank
kids-
you.
Kids are doing well. Both
Yeah.
the boys are doing
They're
great.
killing it. They just started preschool last week.
Wonderful.
We did have one biting incident that my son partook in, but
Hey.
we,
One.
hey, the kid was pissing him off. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Okay.
Before you thought I bit first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, the good thing it was his brother. He didn't try and bite another kid. So like that's kind of
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. Say no more. Yeah.
And how about you, Mary? How can people follow you?
On Instagram, Mary B626. On Twitter, it's just Mary Basmadjian. I got some shows coming up, and I post as I go along. And I do Instagram videos. I don't have movies on Netflix, but
Hey, I do
almost.
Instagram
Hey,
too.
hey, it's okay.
At the Skyler Stone. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you guys can follow me at Felicia Michaels all across the board.
And me as well at Jess Wellington 2 on everything.
Is that the number 2 or spelled out?
The number 2. Thank you so much for clarifying.
Well, I actually just wanted to hear you say number 2. So. Speaking of, I gotta go, guys. No.
Well, you're gonna love this thing because mine is number 1, Andrew Rose, at everywhere. It's exactly so. You got number 1, number 2. It's perfect. So.
Got it.
Thank you. And by the way, Andrew's awesome, and thank you so much for everything you do, Andrew. Andrew's awesome. And that's been it.
And you've been lied to.
Damn! Oh shit, son! I didn't know that was coming.
That shit's funny.